fight, and Devin's like, bro, I'd kick your ass on a box or whatever. And he does those like a bunch of guys. Have you seen any of these clips?
No.
He's like, bro, I'm 260.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you see the one with Nate Diaz?
No.
I don't know why that's just stuck in my head. I've been trying to imitate Nate Diaz the whole time because he does the same thing to him. Nate Diaz looks at him and goes, "You're a podcaster, brother." He's just like, no way, ain't no way. Brother's just like, I'm 260. And the other party's like, I love it. He just laughs and like adjusts his hat every time. It's like a caricature.
There's no way. Like, that doesn't work.
What?
No shit. Like, being 260 doesn't help.
You're a podcaster, brother.
No, but you just don't know technique. That's
yeah,
exactly
I know.
what it is.
Have you seen the clip of Demetrius Johnson winning some like...
Yeah, he was going against a gi competition.
The guy was like
versus
240.
A guy was like 240,
Yeah.
250.
Nuts.
Probably even more.
Nuts.
And he swept him really nice. He like
yeah,
did a
no,
reverse sweep.
the reverse
really
was nice. I saw it that when I thought he was in trouble,
Yeah.
and he reversed it. And I was like, bro, that's
no, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful sweep, and then just great armbar. It was fantastic. But again, like, you got to be top tier. You can't pull that shit at 65.
So the other interesting thing with that is DJ's 100% not a brown. Like, he's a brown belt on paper because he hasn't done gi like ever because he's been training for MMA.
Yeah.
But he's a black. Like,
yeah, but so is a lot of these guys. The problem
That's
is,
true. That's true.
A lot of this transitions into grappling, and a lot of these guys, like especially Middle Eastern guys,
yeah.
they have a lot of just natural grappling from like childhood.
I don't know if it's natural or it's just like training from like birth. You know what I mean? Like, these guys have been training in some form or another.
No,
and I don't
what
mean like official
yeah.
training, right? There's like they grow up and what they would do to play is like grapple with their friends. Same way that South American kids, when they go to like just have fun and shoot the shit, they're playing soccer and on the street. And white guys here, what they do to grow up and they're playing street hockey since they're like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So that
there's a culture. I think what you're getting to is there's a culture to it.
Yeah.
But also, these guys are heavily trained from childhood.
Also that. No, there's, for the guys who can afford it, then yes, there's also like
not even afford it. A lot
training.
of these guys, like Islam, he was like another. There's so many guys that are just going there and starting off as just kids that are interested.
Do you think they use it as a form of childcare, the parents?
Fuck,
They
why
just drop,
not?
you know what I mean?
Dude,
just
wasn't
drop
that
your
the
kid
best?
off. Yeah. Just drop him off.
I would love to drop my kid off at like a 3-hour camp for wrestling and like jiu-jitsu and all that shit, and then like pick him up after 3 hours and they feed him, they look after him.
You know they actually do that here, right?
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like an after-school program would be the fucking best.
No, they actually do that here. They do
not for
after-school
3
programs.
hours though.
I got to check in how long it is, but they actually, some schools, some of the jiu-jitsu schools actually do include like snacks. Like, they actually feed your kid.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And they even like have space, like the nice ones, they even have space for them to do like homework and shit. But they're there in the gym the whole time, and it's like hour training, blah blah, hour training. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they almost stagger. It's
I need
pretty
that.
cool.
If I have a kid, that's what I need. I need like I need him to fuck off or her to fuck off for like 3-4 hours after I pick him up from school, and that's the best fucking way.
Yeah.
And then once they come home, it's like, all right, what did you learn, bitch?
Do it on me.
Let's see if it works. Pow! Knockout.
And then
CTE.
and then, you know, like the one day they beat you, they're like, all right, well, fuck, can't do that again. Like, you've raised an elite grappler.
No, I mean, at a certain age, like, let's say I have kids at 35, okay, and then the kid is 18.
Hey, that's coming up, my boy.
Okay, but let's just say, who gives a fuck?
Okay.
Let's just say that happens, and the kid is 18, 20 years old.
You'll be
I'll be
40,
55.
55, yeah.
Your math sucks, dick.
No, because you said 18, so you'd be 48.
Yeah, okay, but
No, you'd be
No, I'd be
53. 53.
you're an idiot. Holy
I'm
fuck.
counting it from right now. I fucked up.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's no chance if this kid has decent genetics. There's no chance that I'm gonna take him if he's doing 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
There's
No. Yeah.
fuck no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in such a deficit
Yeah,
as far as hormones
100%, dude.
and just pure natural. This kid's been doing it since he was like 3.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since I was like 8 or 10 or whatever the fuck, 15, 20, whatever. Just you can't catch up. You see a significant difference with kids that are like 10 that start and kids that are 5 that start.
Yes.
Let alone
Yes.
20 years or whatever.
What do you think that is? You think that's more to do with their like their body mechanics and them just understanding like dexterity early on, or is it something else? Like it's the fact that you've been training your body for X amount longer since you were a young age when you're like forming yourself physically. Like, is it more physical or mental thing you think that affects that difference from the 5 to 10?
Starting a skill is mental, but your body adapts regardless. So if you do it when you're younger, your body is just more capable of adapting to certain things than when you're older. If I started teaching, or you started fucking learning gymnastics at this age,
yeah, no, it just comes from
how hard would it be to do the same shit a 5-year-old kid can do already?
Well, that's the thing, because I saw a video of exactly that. There was like this like Russian dad who starts taking videos of his son like on a monthly basis, and he starts, I think, kid's 2, so a kid can barely walk, but he starts he starts earlier. Kid can't even walk, and he starts him just like to hanging. He sets up like a really, like, you see the ring, like the double rings. He set up a couple double rings like in his doorway, and he would just start him off like that, just like, just trying to get the kid to like latch on and then let go or whatever. And then by the time he's like fucking like 8, by the time he's like 5, he's like yoked. And he legit does not only the full, but he did almost a full reversal.
Wow.
Yeah. If it ever pops up again, I'll send it to you. But it was really cool to see that.
But I noticed certain things, like even when I got really heavy into mixed martial arts, just not only did my posture completely change, but the muscle growth that I was seeing during weightlifting was the same muscles that was more significant, were the same muscles that I overused in mixed martial arts.
Interesting.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like, use a lot of like your shoulders, your back. That shit started growing at a rate that before I was doing mixed martial arts, it wasn't growing.
Yeah.
And like even calves, I had terrible calves for a long time.
You started doing boxing and shit. Your calves
I don't have
are
good calves, but they're way
yeah.
better.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So certain things like that, you notice a huge difference.
I believe that.
But yeah, I think it absolutely has to do with
so it's both
mental and physical elasticity.
Yeah.
And that has to do, like, even everything. Like, I would love for my kid to learn coding right away. It'd save them so much time. Like, think about it. You're 18 years old. You can code as somebody right out of university, if not better.
Well, that's actually how a lot of these big, like, we're talking like the highest performers in their field of like we're talking like literally the 0.00001%.
Yeah.
Without, I don't want to say without like a doubt for all of them, but so many cases where they just were the best from an early age. Like, they just got into it young. Like, Bill Gates was coding, what could be considered coding now, because it's coding back then was a lot different than it is now. But he was still in that mindset since he was like 13, 14. And to be fair, he got a lot of help because his parents were well off in Seattle, so they could actually afford to put him in schools that were actually investing in computers and computer science. But it's a very common trait to see that all these top performers, they just got in early.
Yeah, super
early. And they put in the work, and that's one of the biggest markers for success. No one's saying you can't do it later, but you'll definitely get so much more success if you start it earlier. But like, starting it in your childhood years is, you get back way more than you put in compared to later on in life. Like, later on in life, you try picking some of this shit up. It's like you're putting in hours to learn the same thing that you could have learned in like.
Don't tell me.
In like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Don't tell me.
You know what I mean?
I spent the hours. Holy fuck me.
The one issue that, something like this comes up anytime I think about the idea of, putting a child into one thing or another, you're like, fuck, man, is just a limited amount of time. There's only so much time in a day, and in weeks and months, it's like, where do you put this stuff? Where do you fit it all in?
I'll tell you right now what I would do with my kid right now, regardless of the sex, same shit. I'll put them in the exact same shit. Swimming and mixed martial arts, and then at like 10, 12, I'd put them in volleyball, basketball for a bit. But I need to find areas where I can be like, fuck off for 3 hours. And do a camp version of something where it's like after school program type shit where I can focus on myself and like,
of course,
my wife can focus. You know what I mean? Because you need that growth too. I 100% believe that. I don't really believe that once you have kids, you have to just stop your own growth. I think that's the old-fashioned way of thinking, and I think if you have enough funds, you should be able to facilitate child growth and your growth.
Well, the other thing is time. It's not just the money, it's time.
Yeah.
Right? Like some of these, we're in a better spot now where it's not too bad, but there's a lot of places in the States where some of the things that you're trying to get for your child is just far away, and like you taking them to things. So like a fucking tournament for some sport that they're doing well in, it's like a 4-hour drive there, 4-hour drive back, and it's like a whole day. Like, so your whole weekend's blasted at that point, right?
But that's what I'm saying. We're in a better spot.
We're in a better spot here, but still there is something to be said about some of these, especially sports. At what point do you
want them to
pull
train.
your child back?
I don't want.
What if they start exceeding in a sport?
I'm not letting them.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not one of trying to let them exceed in sports. Not let them. They can exceed, but it has to be a fundamental basis of their life. I'm not trying to raise an athlete. I'm trying to raise somebody who has lessons that have come from education and street smarts and wisdom passed down from their parents.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm trying to instill in my kid. I'm not trying to instill, fucking competition.
No, I get that.
The reason I don't believe in competition is because there is a huge dark side of competition in sports.
Oh yeah.
That it could break a kid.
Yeah.
And training doesn't. Training doesn't actually break a kid because lose you win. You're practicing.
Yeah.
Right. And that is the key. When you start putting your kid in competition, they see this win-lose cycle as a child.
Yeah.
They grow these like. Any great grow these insecurities through that losing process. Losing in practice is different because there's no actual
it's nothing at stake.
Not only nothing at stake, but there's no like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
It's like that's practice, everybody loses. Right? But I'm not trying to get a psycho athlete. And sometimes these psycho athletes, I've seen so many fail that the odds are not that good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a all-around kid. I'm not trying to build like some superstar that like Khabib style, because for every guy that did that was Khabib style and his dad trained him, only few made it.
Oh yeah, there's countless others that crashed and burned.
However, how many business owners are there in the world? Or since time?
Yeah.
Right? Can you be a business owner? Can you code? Can you, run a MMA gym? Can you do you can do that, but your success rate's a lot higher and your life is going to be comfortable. But you don't have to do this crazy route of
I got that.
Heavy athlete. I think for more kids, it'll break them than make them.
How, what challenges would you see with that with regards to limiting this possible pathway into, as you mentioned, a psycho athlete? Because I agree with this quite a bit, actually, because same thing, I've seen it too. But I think a really challenging part of this is trying to identify if your kid is actually to that level, and if they are, hold on, if they are, it's like your kid might be X amount of years. Let's say if they're like under 10, right, and they're just exceeding their age group for whatever reason. They want to keep doing this thing. It makes them really happy. They get a lot out of it, and it's like, are you really going to limit what they want to do because they're enjoying it? At what point do you actually really mean, hey, you know what, we're going to stop you? Is it certain competition, you do your research, all right, I'm not going to let them get into that competition bracket because that's too much, right? These guys are spending way too much time outside of school or outside of whatever, and they're traveling too much, and it's just too much. Or is it something else?
I don't think there's there's no one path to this. I think there's three. One is you teeter-totter in the middle between having them train, and then if you do want to test them for competition and you want to see if they're going to be a great, you can see that very early. I think where the parents drop the ball.
I don't know if you can.
No. Hear me out. because you train, you see this on a daily basis. So nobody's saying that your kid's gonna stop training.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see how good your kid is, whether it's in competition or not. Let's say wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. There's gonna be times where AAA wrestler is gonna come across your kid. How does your kid do? Does he fuck that kid up?
Mm.
Then you might have that chance, but you're gonna see that. Where parents drop the ball is this: they're unsure of their decisions. They don't have. I've always had. We talked about Solomon's paradox.
Mm.
I have really good Solomon's paradox in a advice way.
Mm.
There's been so many times I don't want to toot my own horn and like act like I'm a fucking I'm a know-it-all, but I've been able to give advice better than I've been able to take advice, and that only benefits you as a parent. Only benefits you as a parent because yes, you're fighting this whole path of taking your advice, your own advice, and there's going to be these times where you fuck up. For example, software engineering or other things, nursing, whatever I did that I didn't fulfill because I saw a better route was a fuck up in its own way, right? But what it does is you can foresee these things in your child, and you have to understand you're at one point of your life when you look at your kid, you're going to be able to see yourself in them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you are sure that what you're saying is the best benefit for your kid. When I was a kid, if my mom stopped me from competition, I would hate my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But later on in life, I would realize that she saved me so much time because I was never good enough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mom never stopped me from competing. But that's unfortunate because yes, I got to do what I wanted to do as a kid, but that's not necessarily the best thing for a kid. A lot of the times it's better to protect your kid from things that you understand that is not in their understanding. They will only learn later. I'm still at 30 years old. I'm still learning things about myself that my mom told me 10 years ago, right? And that is where you're going to run into problems. How harsh can you be as a parent for the good of your kid, knowing that you are correct and your kid is crying out, saying, I want to do this, I want to do that. How much can you ignore of that kid and foresee the future? Those are the good parents. It's not about the parent that, forces a kid to do wrestling. If your kid competes in a wrestling match, for example, against somebody who's good or, competition, you see, wow, oh, fuck. That kid, my kid just beat a fucking national title holder,
champion,
right? He's got a chance. Then, by all means, be flexible, right? I'm not saying forever you're not going to do that, but keep them training, keep them in the game. If they're good, you're going to see them be good. But 9 times out of 10, those kids that are amazing, like anybody in the NBA is an anomaly.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right? Anybody that
any of these like top tier sports, you're talking it's an insanely small percentage of the competing population.
Oh,
insane. Like you look, we're talking like the equivalent of basically going like 1 over 1,000.
Oh, fucking dick. Nothing.
And it's probably less than that, honestly.
Less than that. Yeah. Way less than that.
Like you think about how many people currently play in the NBA, it's like, I think something like 400 players, and that's being generous.
What takes us up is these dumbass fucking sports like bowling and fucking whatever the fuck. And then a lot of people that, because the sport's not that big, a lot of people that just spend the time get in there. But sports that are old, for example, soccer, if you're in the Premier League, you are an anomaly.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And if it kind of fucks it up. But if you had to say, for example, if you want your kid to be an athlete that makes $1 million a year, how many of those have there been?
Yeah.
That's what you should look at. And that's small, right? $1 million a year, let's say 10 years.
Yeah.
So they're set for life. Because if my kid's an athlete, I'm going to be in their ear about where they're spending this money, how they're spending this money, who they see during this time. Like, I'm not even letting my kid go to a strip club. Even if he's 25 years old, he's an athlete. Because I know.
How are you going to stop that?
Please.
Okay, there. Just a fucking helicopter parent. You're just going to be there at university with him? Like, if this kid's that good.
He's not going to university if he's that good.
If he's that good, they will. In the States. I mean, for these, like, major sports. Yeah, dude.
No.
Basketball, football, yeah, they have to go to university. There's no
You make
kid that
more
doesn't.
money from that or UFC?
UFC.
Will you make more money than that? Boxing or what?
What? No, we're talking like the majors, like a basketball or like a football, for example.
Dude,
You have to go to college. There's no
listen
way.
to me. I'm 6 foot. I like girls who are 5'6" and below
Okay.
to 5 foot.
No idea where this is going, but all
There's
right.
no chance my kids doing any of these like American sports.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
What are you talking
There's
about?
just
Okay, sure.
realistically,
sure. Yeah.
I don't have the gene. If I was 6'6", 6'8", 7
Not really
feet,
from you though. You could get lucky and like somewhere down your the
Ball
mother of your
sack?
child. No, no. It's like the mother of your child. Like there's a lot to do there. There's a lot to do there.
maybe, but again, I don't think so. I think what my kid's going to be good at is going to be physical violence. I think that's what it's going to be. And when they're of age, I'm going to teach them how to use a gun, like properly, get them to shoot.
I mean,
take
properly.
them hunting.
You barely know how to use it properly.
I know how to shoot.
Okay, buddy.
You ask Roshan, he'll send you some videos.
Yeah, please send me some videos.
I'm pretty good.
I know guys who couldn't actually shoot. I'm pretty sure you know.
I'm not that good, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you where I excel. I can shoot a 50 cal with accuracy.
Okay. Well,
That's where I excel. I'm not excelling at like shooting 9 mils, fucking
Sure.
whatever tactical shots. No, I can hold a fucking 50 cal and shoot accurately.
anybody who's like serious about shooting, that's a gimmick. The 50 cal, like no one cares about that.
No,
Anybody who
nobody's
shoots,
saying
you know what I mean?
nobody's saying.
Because you're like I could shoot probably. Like,
Listen,
okay.
that's good enough for what I need.
All right, son. You know what? You're 18. Here's your motherfucking deagle. So it's like, Dad, what is this for? Shooting bison. You're like, where are the bison in fucking Vancouver?
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the best shooter for what I need. Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough, right? The problem is that people chase all these wants and needs that are not logical. Again, this circles back to time.
Well,
right?
okay, hold on. I mean, yeah, you're talking about a kid here, man. A kid is going to be idealistic out of the womb. Like that's they're innocent.
Okay,
that's
okay,
where the
perfect.
child's innocence comes
Perfect.
into play, right?
Perfect, and that's where you come in, and you're realistic as a father.
Yeah, sure.
Strict
but
love.
you also don't want to break that because you only get that once. Like you only get that once.
What?
Once a child's innocence is broken, you don't get it back. Like that's it. It's like the Matrix. You can't take the other pill to bring you back to what it was. It's
Why
like
would I want my child to be innocent?
because that's the beauty of being a child. That's
Sure,
it.
sure,
That's
but
it.
at
The
some
moment
age-
it's gone,
Yeah.
that's gone for life. It never comes back to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Fine. But that's perfectly why I would want to be the one who breaks that for them. I wouldn't want somebody else to break that for them.
Yeah, sure.
So when can I do that? It has to be before.
That's up to you.
No, I
That's
mean
up to
think
you.
about it, right?
That's up to you.
If they're gonna go to school, they're gonna learn it in school with other kids. No,
Yeah, like I said, man, it's up to you. It really is.
no. But I'm just asking questions about when possibly they can have that innocence broken. It's gonna be within.
It
school.
really depends for many things, right? So, like for examples, like Santa Claus, like people debate. It's silly shit, right? But it's a good example because you get different answers all over. It's like, at what point do you
Right away.
do you break it that Santa Claus isn't real?
5 years old.
Okay, dude, you just hate kids apparently.
I don't, but I just want them to know the truth, man.
I want them to know the truth. Okay, so you're gonna start bringing them in when you're looking at the news and you see some crazy shit about the war and stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like
in time.
like you need to.
In time. Maybe
and that's
earlier
what-
than others.
See,
would
that's what I
say
mean. So
earlier
like
than others.
everyone's gonna be different, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that what you're thinking of doing for your future children is wrong,
Yeah.
but it's definitely different than the guy across the room from you.
Can I
Me
explain
included.
my viewpoint here?
For sure.
This is what you're arguing in
I'm not arguing a thing.
no,
I was pointing
I'm
it out.
saying this is what the argument is.
Sure.
When to break your child's innocence.
Yes.
And there's two factors to this. One is that if you don't break it, somebody else will. If you wait too long, somebody else will break that innocence. And you won't be able to control your child's reaction or trauma to that.
I disagree with that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Two, because you're not there, there's a likelihood that their reaction or trauma is not indicative of what you want your kid to be like in society. Yes, you can train your kid, you can teach them all you want, but ultimately, I believe you should be able to break your child's innocence and then control their reaction. Because if you don't teach them that, in the firsts, like the first of how to ride a bike, how to fail, if you're not there along the line, you can't really say that for sure later on down the line your kid has the best chances of growing up with good morals to react to negative things. So you have to break your child's innocence, in my opinion. The second option is that the second part of that is that if, let's say, you want your kid to enjoy his or her childhood and you decide to let them be and enjoy their childhood just like everybody else, what happens? Disappointment. And then what happens to that? You're unsure of what's going to happen. It could be a great thing when they find out Santa Claus isn't bad from another kid, or it could be a bad thing. You don't know how they're going to react. And the problem is that you have to be an observant parent. There's a fine line between helicopter parent, where you're hiding shit. You're trying to protect your kid at all costs. That's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to show them a vaccine version of the disease that is life, the negative sides, but control the demolition that happens in their fucking brain. Because if I'm not there and something does happen, later on down the line, I will be able to dissect my kid and find out why they're insecure and what happened that's they're insecure about, and then be like, was that my fault? Or could I have controlled that in a controlled setting? I believe you need to make a tactical kid. And I don't mean that by like, oh, alpha male, blah, blah, blah. No, man. You need to make a well-rounded kid that once they step out into society, whatever they pick, you know you did your best and you've tested them along the way. You've set little potholes that turn to bigger potholes that they've climbed out of over and over and over again. And then in time, you're confident when your kid steps out. This could be my version where it's very heavy duty. You do this, you get up here. Or it could be something along like your parents or my parents or somebody else. That's where that differs. Me personally, I like to be very hands-on in most aspects of life, right? You ask my girl who cleans the house more, probably daddy, right? But that's because I enjoy that I like to feel like I deserve that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type to take credit and then not do the work. I hate that. I hate having these empty congratulations where feel, oh, you did a great. What did you do though? Did you actually do? Did you grind it out or no? I feel like that grinding out is what makes that congratulations beautiful. If you don't do that, you feel empty inside when you get congratulated. That's why a lot of people that win the lotteries, they never did the work. They end up spending it a lot. If you look at how much people spend, and most people go broke during lotteries because they never were trained to handle that kind of money. And that all circles back to, have you been trained as a kid properly or not? It doesn't have to be my way, but it has to be in a way where your kids test it over time, so when they step out in public, they know what the fuck they're doing.
You said a lot there. It's well said. But you also kind of went around. I don't know what to address. Good on you for not smoking weed, man. The thoughts are a lot more clear. I'm not gonna lie. Armand 6 months ago would have lost it a couple times there. Would have like drifted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Stayed nice and tight. I like it.
Yeah. But, your boy did Molly yesterday. So I don't know what that's about, but I was fine after like a couple hours. That shit hit me hard on the car ride there.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But once I was there, I enjoyed David Guetta, but the rest, it was kind of like...
Was he here?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's why we went.
Yeah.
The David Guetta and Showtek.
Showtek, yeah, I've heard of him before.
And I'll tell you, man, some of these girls go out there, like me and my girl were both like looking at them like, would you go out like that? And she's like, fuck no. Like straight up bikini. Like I can see your ass.
Well, those are rave girls.
Yeah,
those are rave girls.
No, I get it, but like they have boyfriends that are cool with that shit. I'm like, why?
That's because they're rave boyfriends. You know what I mean? They're like
ridiculous.
They're like shirtless too and doing whatever.
It was ridiculous. It was to a point where I was like, this is nasty. And you know what? The negative side of this acceptance shit that we got going right now is that you just see a bunch of shit you don't want to see. And I don't have a problem people doing what they want, but at the same time, I want a clear warning, homie. Like I saw these two hillbilly gay guys.
Did you get traumatized yesterday? What did you see?
Little bit. I saw these two. I saw these two really bare.
Oh, you saw bears? Saw a couple of bears?
Gay guys. Damn. And one was twerking on the other, and they were making out with like open tongue. Bro, I could have lived 100 years and never saw that, and I would have been all right. I could have lived 3 generations and never saw that, and I'd be okay. Or I saw a girl with a front ass, multiple ass, like so fat she has an ass in the front. I saw like 20 of those. I'm like, damn. Good for you for doing that, but like I don't need to see this, homie. And like she's wearing like a G-string. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
You chose to put yourself in that position.
Looks like a sea lion that just shaped into a human.
That's why
we're a fucking fishnet.
That's why you got to pay for the VIP.
And bro, it stunk in there. Like not
indoors, right?
No. I'm talking about like stinky.
But yeah, was it indoors?
Stinky tuna in there.
Was it indoors?
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, filthy, bro.
Yeah,
filthy.
Fuck that, dude.
Guys puking on the ground. Horizontal vomit.
There's a reason why I've never been to a rave. That's one of them.
You should go. And
no,
you should
definitely
pop
will
Molly
not.
With your girl.
Definitely will not.
You should try it one.
Definitely
time.
will not. I'd rather do that in the comfort of my own home. Like fuck, man.
You could
in that environment. Fuck, man. I get the aspect. There are some things you can't recreate. Like you can't recreate the energy that's in the room and like the music that you're literally feeling, because like you're not gonna have a sound system that like that in your room.
Right.
So I get there's something, but I'm like at the same time, man, there's so much that I'd be uncomfortable with in these, because I've seen like not only photos, videos, but like people have told me stuff that what you've essentially told me. Like I know some people have gone to raves for like fucking years.
Yeah. And
how they describe it, I'm like, man, I don't know if this is something that I actually would want to do.
If you're afraid of altercation, you shouldn't go.
That's not the biggest thing. It's more of just like the general atmosphere. Like you said, the shit's dirty as fuck. There's a fuck ton of people there. They're not all your friends. Like,
none of your friends.
You know what I mean? Like if you go, because no, there's people that go.
No,
like,
look at me.
Cruise.
None of your friends go there.
Yeah. I mean
I've known you for a while.
I mean that in a general sense.
No, I know.
I mean a general sense.
I'm saying anybody that has like, we went because my girl likes that kind of music.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy it too.
Sure.
But the people there are not like. There's no other me there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's mostly.
Well, look. Think about where you went. You went to fucking Stabbsford, so like, fair enough.
Bro, we went to Enzo.
You go to Contact?
We went to multiple places.
Those are all like Asians over there, isn't it?
I'm telling, but they're not like.
Oh no,
they're not like me. Like I'm not saying I'm special or something like that. It's just this style of person doesn't go to those places. Similar.
Gay.
Maybe. Maybe. All right. You ever hear that Chinese farmer shit?
Well, no, what?
So the Chinese farmer, he's got a kid. So his Chinese farmer, I'll start from the beginning. His wife gets pregnant.
Okay.
And they have twins, and everybody in town comes and says, "Oh, this is great." The 2 kids are born. The girl dies.
Okay.
The daughter dies, and the whole town comes in, and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry she died," and he's like, "Maybe."
Oh, I can.
And then
finish the story.
And then because his daughter died, he really focused on the son, and the son turns out to be a Harvard graduate. And everybody comes and says, "Oh, congratulations, your son went to Harvard," and he says, "Maybe." A couple months later, his son drops out. Everybody comes down and says, "Oh, this is terrible." He says, "Maybe." His son becomes a really famous guy with a great company, like Fortune 500 company. And everybody comes down and says, "Oh, this is fantastic." He says, "Maybe." The moral of the story is that you don't fucking know what's going to happen until it happens. So you might think in the short run, you break your arm, that's terrible. But maybe because you broke your arm, you didn't go to a club that had a shooting and you didn't die. You don't know.
I've heard the story before, and it was much funnier. You made it kind of depressing.
Yeah.
One of my boys, you met him. It was my birthday, the white kid, Daryl.
Yeah.
He told me this story when we went drinking one day at a brewery. But yeah, the way he said it was a lot funnier than this. No. But I do remember, I do know the Chinese one, the maybe story.
Yeah. But, any last thoughts? A little deep sigh there with Hector. Jesus.
I'm getting really good at those. I freak out my girl whenever I do that. She's like, "What?" I'm like, "I don't just doing it." It was a good talk. I didn't think we were gonna talk about our children's futures, but I liked it.
Sometimes you gotta go there. Is my point. Listen,
We have had that conversation before, but we only stuck to like the sports, like what based on how your kid ages, what sports you're going to put them in, blah, 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 this and that. So we actually did have that one time, even on this podcast, but we didn't have the second part of that conversation, which was basically the majority of this podcast. And I actually liked it a lot. It was good.
The only thing I could say about being flexible is one of my idols, Bruce Lee.
Be like water.
Be like fucking water, bro. It's never killed you to be flexible. It always helped you. And the older I get, the more I realize that every fucking day. It's like the more flexible I am, the more people like me, the more friends I have, the prouder my mom is. It excels you to a different level. So if I could say anything for tonight, be flexible this week, you fucking dirty bitches.
And with that, we're out.
Peace.